SimRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Michigan was a wild but entertaining and impressive ride for the Lotus 49 drivers. The oval proved old dogs can learn new tricks and put on some thrilling racing last week. But it's back to a sense of normalcy down here in Sao Paulo. Not only that, but there is the potential for the championship to be wrapped up by the end of today's race. We'll see what Interlagos has in store for us as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legends Series. And you'll see it all live on the Global SimRacing channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is our resident Lotus 49 expert, Mick Claridge. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The Autódromo José Carlos Pache is more commonly known as Interlagos, which means between the lakes. But this track has to be read between the lines as well, with its split nature. Let's head down for a closer look at the track to see if we can unlock some of its secrets. Welcome to Autódromo's José Carlos Pache. Most fans and drivers simply know this place as Interlagos. Starting life as an absolute behemoth of a circuit, this Brazilian track was eventually truncated to the version you see today. Having hosted Formula One for roughly 3 decades, it's become very well known on the international stage. But it has also held rounds in the World Endurance Championship, as well as frequently seen Brazilian stock cars, motorcycles, and even truck racing. There's little difference between its 2 layouts, which includes the GP course and the Moto course, which simply adds a chicane to the end of the lap. In both cases, it's a tale of 2 circuits. The run past the start-finish line and into the Senna S, followed by the blast towards the Descida do Lago, are very high-speed sections that come back-to-back. Drivers will need to focus on top end in order to attack or defend. Expect most passes to happen in those 2 corners. But from Ferradura until Juchao, the track suddenly twists itself into a mess of hairpins and frustratingly technical turns. This can make car setup a real compromise, and for the latter part of the lap, an absolute pain when dealing with traffic. Pit exit is also a narrow affair, so it requires drivers to take care when trying to maximize their outlaps. On the upside, with this being a modern F1 track, there's paved runoff in abundance at many of the fast corners. The passion of the Brazilian fans always comes out in force at races, and it's no wonder with this picturesque track sandwiched right amongst the neighborhoods of Sao Paulo. Mick, even though this track has only been in this shape since the 90s, it really feels like it's become something of a Formula One classic.
Yeah, it really is a classic track, ain't it, Joe? Yeah, all sorts of corners on this place, and it's really tough to master it. You've got fast corners, you've got slow, you've got chicanes, you've got really, really slow hairpins as well. The key to getting around here quick is all in the power ramp of the car. You got to get the back end of the car out. Like we always say every week, this car drives on the throttle. It's going to be really great to see the guys really fight in this place now.
Well, we'll watch them fight for quite a few laps, but before we get to that, let's take a look at the championships. As I mentioned, Rob Olenek leading it and could potentially wrap things up. The simple way to think about it is that if he outscores Marco Kika by 17 points, the championship is his. Now, that is going to require Marco to finish at least a little bit down the order. But he's been relatively consistent in his finishes, so the Finn could still keep it alive, but the championship is looking like an inevitability for Rob. Sadro and Price in a nice little fight for the third spot to settle out the podium, and then Peter Mikus, who's been quick, has not shown up every round, hence why we see him down in P5. Of course, we also have an F2 championship that we cover in this series. So, Mick, what's that one look like?
Yeah, like I was saying last week, Joe, at Michigan, it looked like a two-horse race, didn't it? But Bill Tyler came from nowhere that race. He put it on second place on the grid, and he had a really great finish last week. And he's jumped up into the lead with 167 points now. David Rossi, everyone's here today. David Rossi is just behind him now, 166 points, just 1 point behind. Pascal Tremblay, the French driver, 164. So it's all to play for now for the last couple of races we've got now. Andreas Bruno and Colin Bentley, they're fighting out for fourth. Andreas 114 and Colin Smooths of Bentley on 106.
And that is going to be really awesome to see, especially with how close they are. That is certainly up for grabs. Now, they have a Constructors' Championship, which is technically the Nations' Cup in this series because that's how they score the points. The U.S. well ahead of the U.K. right now. Those are really the only two up at the top that are looking at Finland has been trying to chase them down, but even with Marco Kika contributing, they are down to third. And then you get to a very close fight between Germany and Slovakia for fourth and fifth spots. I talked about that we've got some laps to do. How many laps exactly are going to be in this race here today, Nick? We've got the race details here for this one.
We almost have on my screen. There we go. It's round 10 of 12, Joe. Only two more races to go. Like I say, that F2 battle is going to really, really be great to watch now for the last couple of races. Today, 21 laps. Seems like it's a bit of a short race, but it's not actually that short. It's quite a daunting prospect getting around here 21 times. Open setup. That doesn't mean you can change anyone else's setup. It means you can change your own. And the incident limit is 17. It's official series here, so 17 incidents and you're out.
And there's a few places with paved runoff where they could get those, but in general, I'm not expecting that to be too much of an issue. We're watching this, as always, on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure and subscribe when you get the opportunity. It's pretty easy. If you're watching this on YouTube, even, all you got to do is scroll down, and you'll see a big red button that says subscribe. Just below the video. Click that. You won't miss a moment here on the IESN. And we'd like to remind you that we have a merchandise store. This is a new thing here for GSRC. We've been adding a few things as well lately on this, including a new shirt that we've got. This is a split t-shirt that we've designed. It's got the GSRC logo. It's red on one side, white on the other. Now, the other thing we've done is not just make it for wearing, but also you can put this on your race car because it doubles as a splitter. And it'll add an extra 80 pounds of downforce to help you go faster around those corners. So just, roll it up and try to tuck it down on the front, and it should help you out around the racetrack.
Not only that, Joe, I know there's a special deal that if you buy 10, they actually make a double bed.
Oh, that'll be nice and comfy. Not only quick, but you can be well rested at the racetrack. We've got just a little bit time left here in the qualifying. Right now, provisional pole held by Rob Olenek, but Roman Pawlowski has returned. And Uwe, who you were saying was looking very fast in the warm-up, currently holds third. But I'm also noticing that Kane Lasky has come back again.
Yeah, Kane's right on the pace now. He's been on the pace since Barcelona. Trend here this week is you're normally going to get your fastest lap on your first lap of trying, so I'm not really expecting much of a change now up the top there.
It's also pretty hot out there as we watch Jamie Hall come around, currently sitting in sixth place. 118 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface. Not the hottest you've seen, Mick, but still pretty toasty.
Yeah, that's not the highest. We've had practice sessions up at 135, so people will be used to 118. All the tyres will be sorted by now. We've had a week of practice now. Everyone's got their setup sorted. I don't see too many problems with 118. I'd expect it to go down, though, as the race goes on. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a little after 4 p.m. virtual standard time, so the sun should be slowly going down, but shouldn't reach the horizon. That's everybody for qualifying, I believe. I'm checking. I don't think anybody is able to set a lap from here. So our grid order is sorted in what is a relatively large field out here today. So let's start going through that and give you an idea of what the green flag will see. It is going to be Rob Olenek on the pole, as we mentioned, with Roman Pawlowski, those two becoming rivals of sorts, sort of the new version of Mick and Michelle. They'll be on the front row with Ove Trangrade starting third, Kane Lasky in P4 as well. Daniel Sadro managed to get a fifth place qualifying today. Jamie Hall could not improve on that second lap that we were watching, so a 32.3 is only good enough at the outside of row 3. Peter Mikus starts in 7th today with Bill Tyler in P8. Phil Lake, surprisingly far down for him, only 9th in qualifying. And then also a surprise from Marco Kike. He could yet lose his championship today. He'll start at 10th.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise after that, because Ian Haycock's pretty much out of position. We expect him to be higher than that. Chris Murakami down in 12th there. Pascal Tremblay, I just noticed Bill Tyler's up in 8th place. Pascal Tremblay down in 13th. He's going to have to work. And David Rossi right behind him there. They're really going to have to work to catch Bill today. Don's doing good there in 15th. Aki Pentinen in 16th. Colin Coker, the Aussie, in 17th. Andrew Eng, the regular, in 18th there. Giacomo Ponte, 19th. And then the guys that didn't get a lap. Colin Bentley, Julia Colin, Rodney Evans, and Trent Boussay.
And they're already starting to line up as we're waiting for just a few more to make their way to the grid as we get ready for round 10 here in the Grand Prix Legends Series Classic F1 racing at an F1 circuit that they're racing at this weekend. In fact, in the real world, granted with a lot more downforce than these cars are experiencing. Just Mikus and Pawlowski left to get out on the grid. Our front row should be completed pretty soon here. Certainly wouldn't want to see Roman have to start from the pit lane after such a good qualifying. And it'll be a short run down to a plunging chicane through the Senna S, where hopefully we won't have anybody tangle. It can sometimes be a problem area. Looks like they're all out there. Engines start to rev as the lights come up. Green flag is out here in Interlagos. Rob Olenek does not get a good start at all. In fact, it's a horrible start as Ove Trangrade already looking up around his outside, but it's not enough of a run. He can't quite get in there. Into second place, Pawlowski defends that spot. They all cycle their way through, watching to see if anybody has any issues, but I think they're clean.
Yeah, it looks like everyone made it through. They're nice and safe. Nice little gap now. Rob was really got on Angelica there. Looks like they're having a little dice around behind them, but yeah, nice start there by Rob.
Over the slide down through the Descida del Lago for Ove Trangrade. They're starting to lose the top two already. Roman and Rob have gapped them, and they're only halfway through the first lap. It's tightly packed behind Ove because Kane Lasky, who almost got touched by Jamie Hall there coming through the Ferradura, is giving chase.
Yeah, I'd say out of everyone up here in the top 5 there is Kane Lasky. I think he might be a little bit out of position. I think he's got a nice bit of speed under him today. Expect him to be hustling up.
As they swing through Magrulo up to the junction, and most cars, this is effectively the last corner. And it is just a straight blast up to the start-finish line. But Mick, this is a tricky one climbing this hill.
Yeah, this is tricky. This is half throttle around this corner now. No one's on full throttle around it. You can't even get on full power until you get to the edge there on the grass. Rob crashed here yesterday in the race last night, losing the back end as he was going past the pit entry. So it just gives you an idea on how hard it is to get these cars around this front straight.
pretty single file into the first corner. Really, the only battle we've got into there is between Bill Tyler and Ian Haycox, and they're trying to settle out 10th position. And I think Ian's going to get it the long way around to the second apex. Bill Tyler very, very slow. Now as he's got Tremblay underneath him, and I think Pascal is also going to demote him.
Yeah, just watching Bill now. Oh, he's all over Pascal now as well. Oh, he just lost the back end there as he was going through the left-hand sweeper.
Oh, and we had Don Good off track behind him. Slides into the paved runoff. Looks like he almost got into the back of Bill Tyler. Unfortunately, caught Andrew Ang as well, and I think Giacomo Ponte got a little bit involved. He was the one that you saw slowed up there. Just a chain reaction.
I'm just looking at who. Yeah, it was Andrew Eng who went down the inside of him there and just got caught up in the end of it, didn't he?
Everybody is able to keep going. And it looks like Peter Mikus had a pit start that I'm seeing just now. And he's a lap down. That or he had an issue on the first lap.
Yeah, we're just looking at... Sorry, Joe. We're just looking at Andrew Eng there. He's got massive damage. He won't be carrying on. Steering's really cocked to the right-hand side now. He's got to park it.
It's a shame to see this early in the race. You see Mikus running in last. He should be able to overtake Eng there, even if Andrew gets some repairs done. It'll take a minute to get that suspension repaired. Let's head back up to the lead, though, because at first I thought Pawlowski was running away with Rob, but Trangrade's keeping them in check. Lasky is still on them, and then you finally got a bit of a break down to 5th for Jamie Hall. So top 4 still all together.
Bit of a shout out to Jamie Hall, though. Camel Driver had just come into the series, doesn't really drive this car that much, and holding a nice 5th position there. Fair play to him.
I seem to recall he came in a few times in the past, but yeah, it's been a minute since we've seen Jamie out here.
Yeah, he really lost the back end there going into the right-hander.
So we watch from Jamie's perspective. He's being closely followed by Daniel Sadro, who is now essentially a long-time regular in this series. And they come back up past Water Tower and Subidos dos Boxes. You can see just how much they have to lift to get through there. Both of them nice and tidy, though.
And I was just going to say, Daniel Sadro, he's sped up over this season, I think. He hasn't really been on the radar. We haven't really seen much of him, but he's slowly getting there. I mean, he's holding a nice 6th place now, and he's looking at Jamie for this 5th. Just rides up on the curb on the inside there as we go around the end of the centre S's there on the left-hander, and just drops back a little bit from Jamie there. But yeah, really impressed with Daniel this season. I know he's driving a lot of different cars as well now, so fair play. All these aliens that drive other cars, you know, Joe, how do they do it?
Yeah, he had a big snap there into the
yeah, it was
Lago.
big, yeah.
Thankfully, he caught it. But, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, Daniel, because of what I've watched of him in the Weekend Warriors. He steadily moved up until now he's essentially the 2nd fastest driver behind Gaspers in that series. So I wouldn't be too shocked if, as time went on, we started to see Sadro fighting for wins.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with anyone who can do that, who can jump from car to car in this on the service, you know. Just watching Kane Lasky there, yeah, these guys are really close, aren't they, Joe? This is a hell of a battle, this is.
He's taking peeks here and there to see if he can maybe get a look on Trangrade, but Trangrade got too close behind Pawlowski as they came out of the junction. So they're all 3 checked up and backed off as this gives Rob Olenek a gap. You can see from above the 9/10 of a second that he's pulled away. Nobody looking like they've got a chance down into the Senna S here.
No, I was riding on board with Kane there. Both Uwe and Roman went on the grass on the outside of the kink there, going up the hill over the front straight. Yeah, very even as I go round the left-hander now. Kane looks a little bit tight if I'm honest. Looks like Uwe's got a little bit more of a back end on his car, you know. He can power out these bends a little bit nicer. See how the rev... Oh, Roman's well wide there, and Uwe lost the back end as well there. That could give Rob a really nice a nice extra little bit of a gap there now.
Ooh, and Marco Kika. Oh, this is championship implications. Kika is off out of the Descent of the Lago, and he's got to wait for everybody to go by before he can get on track. What happened here? Looks like it was a pass attempt from Phil Lake. Did they come together?
Yeah, they did. Marco he ran a bit wide on the left-hander then and just went on to that AstroTurfy stuff, and he's got his foot hard down there and he's lost the back end. Oh, that's terrible for him.
If they touched, it was extremely slight. We could see from above there, he whipped back around and, as you said, spun off. Well, this sent him down to 13th place, so still score points in that position. They pay down to 25th, so everybody will score today. So
I just watched it again, Joe. I don't think they did touch. I think he just lost it and then span off the opposite way round.
Have to double check and see what they score for this position. It's 50 points for a win, so it is feasible that he could still lose the championship from here, because Olenek is leading as we check in on 10th place, and it is a hornet's nest back here in the mid-pack, being led by David Rossi in that F2 championship. Ian Haycock's behind him. Phil Lake is in there. Then you've got Tremblay and Tyler, 5 in a line.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what happened to Bill. I can't remember what happened there. Do you know, Joe?
Well, I think it's just fallen down the order, it looks like. Because remember, he got overtaken by a few drivers very early in the race.
Yeah.
Just looks like he lacks pace.
This is good for David Rossi then.
Absolutely. You saw the 3 points separating our top 3 in the F2 championship, and Bill Tyler was one of them. Rossi needed this, and he wants those cars to continue to separate them, as that was a huge slide from Phil Lake. He catches it, and another slide there from Ian Haycock. This heat is really starting to chew up the tires.
Yeah, and once you do that, once you lose the rear end like that, it just happens over and over again, and it's a downward spiral in your lap time. You know, you just can't get it back. You really have to hold back to get the car back underneath you.
And Ian Haycock, we couldn't quite see it from that angle, just lost 9th place to Phil Lake around the outside. I don't think I've ever seen someone pass around the outside in these cars at Mergulo. That was impressive. Take a look at this one more time. There's another slip up from Haycock. You're going to see Ian get loose again. But Lake was there to take advantage. Wow, smooth as silk.
Yeah, that was unbelievable pass, wasn't it? I mean, I know I was just saying about you have to back off after you overheat the tyres, but he wouldn't have had to have backed off that much. Yeah, he really got caught there, didn't he?
Yeah, don't know if it was backing off so much as the tires were still slipping and sliding around. So you can see the number 2 now riding in 9th place and seeing if he can take David Rossi as well. We've had a lot of action behind them for 15th. Colin Bentley gained a spot rather on Colin Coker, and Ponte was involved in that as well. They swapped positions twice within a couple corners here, these two. Oh, we're going to change again because here comes Bentley down to the inside of Giacomo, but he's going to be on the outside of the next corner. He'll swing back in favor of him down into the Ducks. Bill Bentley doesn't need it, though. He got the power off of the corner. So move Colin Bentley up to 14th.
Yeah, and Ponte again lost the back end on the way round the right-hander there. Now they're just heading down to the last turn. I'm just watching on board with Colin Coker now, seeing if he can get... Oh, he ran really wide up there. That was... Colin Bentley ran really wide. I just want to watch now, see if Ponte can get anything done here. Looks like he's a little bit further back. Yeah, miles too... Yeah, nowhere near. That's annoying.
And as that's been happening, I keep looking at Kane Lasky and Ove Trangarate. You talked about how Kane seems understeery. He's strong into the corners. There's been multiple times now where he's come within a 10th or 2 of the back of the Norwegian, but not able to pass yet.
Yeah, it looks like, I'm sitting on board with him now, and he's really having to chuck some steering lock into the car to get it round these turns. Yeah, I'm not sure what sort of a South he's running this week. But it does look a little bit on the safe side to me. You know, you just as he loses the back end. But yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Let me just have a quick check of the weather. Down at a degree. Once it gets down another 2 degrees or so, things are going to change up, I think.
And things have gone from bad to worse for Marco Kika, and this one involves Ian Haycox. Kika hit the wall, so did Ian. And I think Ian's been able to get the car going, but he had it worse of the two. If we can get a replay of this, it was maybe about 40 to 50 seconds ago.
Yeah, it looked like Ian lost it and then hit the wall on the inside, and Marco had nowhere to go there, didn't he? Doesn't look like he's got any damage. I think he's going to be able to carry on.
Yeah, there you can see Ian start to lose it. Marco comes on it, and he has to take evasive action. Brushes the wall to the outside. Marco's still going in 12th. I'm not sure how damaged he is. I'm going to watch from Marco's perspective. Let's see if we can get a better idea of how hard he hit.
Yeah, I'm just watching on board. Yeah, just watching on board with him now, Joe. It looks like he's steering nice and straight. You know, he's running down the outside of the track there, you know, up on the limits there. So I think he's all right.
Another little slide down through the Descida del Lago as we are back live and watching on board. Let's head back up to the front because the battle between the top four, it's almost looking like Rob Olenik's a bit of a cork in the bottle because he's not been able to drop them. They're just riding right behind them, and I wouldn't think the draft is powerful enough that they're using that to stay with them.
No, honestly, Joe, I was expecting Rob to just sort of slowly disappear off into the distance, but that's just not happened, has it? I mean, look at these guys. One mistake, and you know, you could gain or lose a couple of spots here, you know, in this battle.
Nobody's sticking their nose out as they break for the Senna S. This is where I keep seeing Kane get the closest to Trangarade for that final podium spot. This time, not quite there. Ove actually looking awful tight to the back of Pawlowski now, and could he maybe have a dive in the Descida del Lago? Nope, not going to be happening. Oh, but Pawlowski getting... Oh, Pawlowski really hot into the corner.
Yeah, I was watching Uwe. He really gave it a boot for out that center S there, and it really paid off for him. Just watching Kane again on the brakes now. Nicely on the brakes for Kane there. Roman's just run a little bit wide, but he's going to get a nice entry into this slow right-hander now.
Oh! Netcode between Pawlowski and Trangarade. Pawlowski has to try and catch it. Trangarade goes wide. Lasky can't get through, so second place goes to Ove. Third goes to Lasky. Let's take a quick look at that from another angle. From my perspective, it looked like...
Yeah, it was massive lag, wasn't it there, Joe? There was massive distance between them.
Watching it from above, this will give us a good idea. Watch the purple car and the car second in line there. Yeah, oh man, he wasn't even close to touching him.
Just watching Kane now up front in the turn one. There's a pass on here, guys.
He's got a nose in, but he's not quite side by side. Trangarade forced into an error though, and Kane Lasky in one lap from fourth up to second rather.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see now if he can catch up with Rob. Rob's just got a little bit of a gap now because of all this shenanigans behind him. Both nicely now, Kane and Lasky, Kane and Uwe right round that huge S now. This is where you really have to fight the back of the car. And now down into the right hand on the brakes hard. Looked like Rob went a bit wide there, if I can see up ahead.
2.2 seconds separating Olenik and Lasky, but Lasky's been quicker than Rob in some cases. Now that he's been freed up, kind of curious to see how that'll go. Kika's trying to strike back. He's managed to catch Bill Tyler and just overtook him into turn 4. Let's take a look at that.
Oh, sorry, guys. Kane got a slowdown. Kane's back behind Uwe.
We'll go to that replay just after we watch this. And Wow, very straightforward move. Kika a little bit hot into the corner, but managed to run off of it. And if we switch over to Lasky, let's see where. Yeah, how did? Well, was that a slowdown or was that?
I'm not sure if it
He
was
get a slowdown through here.
Yeah, no, he was nowhere near the track limits. I got no idea why he did that.
Huh. Well, regardless, this now puts Trangrade in second, Lasky in third. I'm not sure if maybe Lasky's slowing up to allow Pawlowski to get back by to try and give the position back.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if he knew who was behind him there. You know, it might have been what you just said yesterday, Joe. But yeah, that's a bit of a weird one, that is.
So we head back down to 9th position. This is David Rossi still with Tremblay behind him. Look at Marco Kika, another position potentially. Kika still strong. No damage on that car, but he overshoots the corner. And there goes Tremblay back through. So he's going to have to do it a little bit cleaner if he wants to get into 10th place.
And Pascal's really want to be battling with David and getting past there. You really want this F2 championship, you know. It's all to play for. They're so close up in the F2 championship now. Only 2 races to go. Just watching David Rossi there ran really wide into the right-hander and again runs wide in the left-hander. This is quite hard to get the power down now. You just brake just after that curb on the right-hand side. Get it turned in tight. Marco Kika's all over the back of these guys now. Rossi was a little bit messy and he's just about got an apex there. This is all going to be to play for on the front straight between these 3 guys.
So 10th place, real quick, I looked at it, will be worth 20 points. So even if Kika gets by Tremblay and then past Rossi as well, he's well too far behind to be able to
Tremblay,
keep.
Yeah, Tremblay's going for this.
Took a little bit of a look to the outside. Into the Senna S. Tries to keep from getting into him. All of them having to woe up big time into this first corner. This is where we've seen Kika be very strong. Coming here out of the curve of the Soul. Can we get another shot here on Tremblay? A little bit of a slide from Pascal. But even still, it looks like he is safe from an overtake.
Oh no! We didn't mean to do that. That wasn't a pass attempt. That was just... Oh, God, that was just scary for both of them guys there.
Oh, he made it work. That time it stuck. So
I think Pascal saw it coming and just thought, I'll just stay wide.
Yeah. He figured it's better to try and finish the race. So that does move Kika up to 20 points. And actually, what does 9th give him? 22? Yeah, he's going to need 2 more positions, because that'll be 25 points. That will be within how many he'll need to keep the championship alive, but just barely, as Kika almost gets into the back of David Rossi. And now Tremblay tries to come back on the attack on him. Doesn't quite pan out. Where is the next car up? That's Phil Lake ahead of Rossi, but that's about 6 seconds.
Yeah, he's quite far away, ain't he? So yeah, he's got a battle here today. You know, he's got to really fight. I don't know if you know if he'll be able to catch Phil Lake. Phil Lake's no slouch, is he?
And Rossi was slow out of the Subidos dos boxes. Marco Kika's got to run into the first corner. He's to the inside. Can he tuck it down to the apex? He's been a little bit sloppy on overtakes, and he is indeed. He cuts through. That will definitely be a slowdown penalty. And I think he's going to be serving it here on the Retta Oposta. It should be a slowdown penalty. Maybe not. He's still going. He hasn't given the position back. All right. Well, the iRacing stewards have deemed that fair, I suppose.
Yeah, I was just curious watching David Rossi there, because he lost his place to Tremblay again there, didn't he? He was really, really loose on the left-hander there, the big sweeping left-hander there. It was, there's been a few moments where people have really been uncomfortable with the car, you know?
At this point, Marco Kika is 2 points shy of staying within this championship as we ride on board with Rossi. He's behind. Whoa! And he just got hit in the back from Bill Tyler. We couldn't see it because we were on board. Boy, this group has been a little bit mistake prone. There you see the hit. Is down into the ducks bill. Gonna watch it one more time. Rossi just taking a little too much through the apex.
Yeah, a bit of damage. Yeah, bit of damage on Bill's car now because of that. Oh, and he's really lost it into turn 1 there as well. Really lost the back end. Side by side with Rossi now. And Bill's got it. Bill's got the move.
Is something wrong with Rossi's car? Because I mean, he lost a spot to Kika and then Tremblay.
His steering's miles out. Yeah, he's got damage there.
After he was looking so good earlier on, let's watch the steering here. It's not quite a straight portion yet. Yeah, cut slightly to the left, maybe.
Yeah, and what that does, it takes you a couple of laps to get used to it. But if it's only cocked slightly away like that, it normally means you're going to be fast round one way of a corner and slow on another one. So hopefully he'll be fast round left-handers and slow on the rights, and he'll be able to get a decent finish still.
Second place has not been settled. Lasky's now got back on his horse, and Trangrade is in front of him, looking to see if he can get the higher spot on the podium here. So they come out of the curve at a Sol, and he's got to run, and he's been good into the corners, but how aggressive does he want to be? Aggressive enough. Oh, and something happened to Chris Murakami because Marco Kika is now on top of him. When did this must have just happened. Excuse me, no. Murakami got overtaken by Lake, rather. Sorry, I was looking at my timing and scoring wrong. Let's take a look at this. This happened down the front stretch into the first corner. Lake with a great run, riding right under his gearbox. Forced to go the long way around, but he says, doesn't matter which way, I'm taking his 7th place away.
That was all in the kink, Joe. When you get that right, I was just watching on board with Phil there. You can just enter that kink, and just keep your foot down hard so you're steering straight. You're not actually steering the car round the corner, you're using the power to do that. And that's exactly what he done there.
Looking at 4th place, Pawlowski struggling now. The contact in the back of that car seems to have hurt Roman quite a bit because Dan Sadro has already run him down. This is going to be for 4th place. Pawlowski's about 5.5 seconds off the podium, and he certainly showed a lot more speed in the first half of this race. We've only got 5 laps to go, mind you, so we're just about done with the day.
Yeah, that's right. Just looking at lap times there, Roman was 3 tenths slower on that last lap, so yeah, this is on for Dan. Really closed up on brakes there, but Dan lost the front end there. He's understeering across the track there. Into the left-hander they go now, hard on the power, hard as you can. Just watch the grass on the right-hand side, get it wound up, get it turned in. Roman's really wide there, but he should be able to cut across and get a nice apex somewhere. Now watch how much curb they take on this right-hander, Joe. You can get all 4 wheels over there.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, it is. It's. They're both quite equal, aren't they? Looking at them now.
They certainly seem to be pretty evenly matched, and they need to be careful about how much they battle here at the end, because Jamie Hall, you might be able to catch flashes of a 3rd car in line. He's about 1.5 seconds back there in 6th position. I'm sure he's hoping that these two start to tangle with each other and he could find himself up 2 in just a single lap.
Yeah, he was a little bit quicker on the last lap. He was a little bit quicker than both of them last lap. So yeah, he could be getting involved in this. There's just enough time, I reckon, to do it.
Uwe Trangrade with a bit of a mistake coming through the Senna S because Kane was getting awful close to the back of him. Kane could have a chance here as once again wide for Uwe Trangrade. Kane Lasky now with a great run down the Red Out Bus as they go 3 wide with the lap traffic. The car stays out of the way. Kane has the desired inside line, and he's through back up to P2 for the number 8.
Yeah, it was a lovely move, wasn't it? Uwe just went wide on that curb. As soon as you do that, you got to get out the throttle. You just the car gets upset, and it's not good over that curb, and you just lose all your speed. Just watching Uwe now, just seeing if he can keep up with Kane now. Nice big chunk of curb for both cars there on the right-hander. Oh, Uwe's a little bit sideways on the left, and now you get the power down hard, second gear, up to third gear for a little while. Kane's gone really defensive there with Uwe nowhere near him. I don't know why he did that, but they're going to get a nice run now. Uwe's, had a quite equal round there.
Yeah, and I
just wondering whether Kane's going to be able to get away from Uwe a bit now.
It's looking pretty strong already. It's about half a second that he's put between them. And you can see that the cloud cover has been starting to come over. It's cooled down now to 110 degrees when it started at 118 earlier in this race. So we glance back at Sadro, looking to see if he can attack Pawlowski. This is looking good. Got a little bit of the slipstream. Pawlowski slightly defensive down into the first corner. That's going to deny Sadro for now.
Yeah, Sadro was all over the place in the braking zone there. I was just watching the steering wheel. He was really fighting the car in the brakes there. But as they go around the left-hander now, there's a car that's just well out of the way, so that's good for both of them. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything here. He's just showing himself on the inside. Makes Roman go defensive there. Didn't really need to. We'll see how Dan gets an exit now. Nicely on the power. Nice curb. No, this is good, Joe. He's going to get... Oh, Roman's gone defensive again, but he's able to cut him across.
With 2.5 laps.
Good battle.
Fantastic battle. And he's only got 2.5 laps left, so I can understand him going defensive, just trying to ensure that Sadro doesn't sneak attack him, knowing that it's now time to get aggressive. But this is slowing them up. The more defensive he goes, the more Jamie Hall continues to chip away. It's down to 0.8 of a second. This is going to become a three-way fight very quickly. Toward the green-red machine of Jamie Hall now. You can see them getting bigger in the windscreen. Climbing up towards the start-finish line. Rob Olenik's got the 2 to go sign already. He's about a 4-second gap. Oh, that was a big moment for Hall, as almost side by side went Traingrade and Lasky.
Yeah, I was just watching that, Joe. The battle's on for second place here. Uwe really caught up in the last lap, and Kane's really trying to break the toe away from him to stop him getting any sort of slipstream. He was braking on the grass then, and he just pulled it onto the track just before the car lost it. That was dicey, that was. Just going to see how Uwe gets around. I'm just wondering, is Uwe quicker in his slow, in the slow part of the track, because he really caught up by the last corner. Just as they both go over the nice bit of curb there as they head into the slow right-hander. Kane's locked to brake there. Oh, Kane's doing a Frodo moment and disappearing off the track. He's putting the ring on and taking it off again. Down into the right-hander now.
Definitely.
Kane defended again there. He didn't really need to.
And it looks like every time I watch Ove into these slower corners, you mentioned that maybe he's quicker through there.
This is on now.
Lasky.
Yeah, this is going to be scary now for both of these cars now coming up through this kink. Now, how hard do you want to try it? Yeah, see, Kane did lose it there. He was on the power hard. He knew he was in trouble there. This is on now. Kane needs to defend. He will defend. But, I thought Uwe was going to dive down the inside there. It looks like it's on.
He's good on the brakes, but he's got to hold the car. It starts to go around for both of them, but more so for Traingrade. Eventually, he gets it pointed forward, but Kane Lasky on the final lap is able to pull a gap.
Yeah, that's the Uwe we love, ain't it, Joe?
I love how on edge both of them were, though. Both drivers sliding. You knew they were taking as deep as they dared. Looks like Rob Olenek coming through Ferradura now. He is about halfway through this lap, and all that fighting has extended the gap. Where is Marco Kika? Kika's in 9th. He hasn't caught Murakami, so this is not going to be enough. Pawlowski still having to fend for 4th place as Sadro is trying to catch that one. And Sadro has a little bit of a look. This could be it for Sadro as he comes to the outside of the Ducks bill. Very hard to pass through that one unless he gets a monster over under, and he might just, but not sure that we're going to be able to look at this one long as they still go side by side because we got to go to Rob Olenek. He's coming to the start-finish line now. His 6th victory of the season for the number 1 car. Olenek may have clinched the championship. Lasky going to take 2nd place and Trangrade 3rd, but Pawlowski managed to sneak through in 4th. Yeah, Hall got awful close to the back of them as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I know I said he probably didn't, probably had enough time to do it. Wasn't sure if he was, but yeah, fair play to him. He must have really put in some laps there at the end.
And just 1 position shy, I believe, Marco Kika is going to come across the line in 9th place. That, I believe, by my math, is going to do it. So Marco Kika cannot mathematically overtake Rob Olenek in the championship after today.
Yeah, Robbo, the Lewis Hamilton of the Lotus 49 series this season, hasn't he? He's really just dominated it from week 1, hasn't he, Joe?
Has been nearly unstoppable at times. He hasn't been as dominant as he was for a period, but another victory certainly shows he's not lost the speed. We're going to go to a quick break as the last of the drivers cross the line. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC.
You wanted the best, you got him 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show under the world of outlaw.
Welcome back to Autódromo's José Carlos Pache, better known as Interlagos. We just watched round 2 of the points championship for first place. We'll double check the math on that when we can. But Rob Olenek won once again from pole. Kane Lasky, who looked fast at times, had to do a lot of battling, had a few mistakes, and well, we'll never know if he was able to catch Rob in the end. He had to settle for second place. His bigger troubles were with the car behind him, Ove Trangrade. That was tight up until the start of the last lap when they both slid through the first corner. Roman Pawlowski, another driver that wonders what could have been, but contact seemed to have cost him speed. He finished 4th, barely fending off Daniel Sadro at the line. Sadro with the top 5. And then Jamie Hall behind them in 6th position, both Daniel and Jamie finishing where they started. Phil Lake took 7th place with Chris Murakami in 8th today. Marco Kika. By our estimations, that shouldn't be enough for him to stay in the championship hunt. That 9th place, he'll be just outside of the points that he needed. And Tremblay finished behind him, rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, great finish for Tremblay there in top 10. That's going to have implications for the F2 battle now. Ian Haycox looks out of position there in 11th. Not a really good race for him today. Colin Smooth as a Bentley, that looks good in 12th spot. I'm not sure we were expected quite a good finish like that. David Rossi, again, implications for F2. Doesn't want to be that far away from Tremblay. We're going into the last 2 races. Giacomo Ponte in 14th, Colin Coker in 15th, Aki Pentonen in 16th, Bill Tyler down in 17th. Again, more implications for F2 for next week and the week after. Julio Forcornian in 18th there, Rodney Evans in 19th, and Peter Mikus started from the pit lane, if I remember, didn't he, Joe? That's a bad finish. It looks like he was out there and he's down in 20th.
Yeah, 21st went to Andrew Ang, who did manage to finish the race. Trent Buse was a DNF, and so was Don Good. There's something said from Peter of Amicus about, he said, I hate that I can't start a car when the countdown is on 000. So not sure if he just tried to join a little bit late or something. Regardless, it did hurt him today. We do have our winner ready to talk to us. Rob Olenek just popped in, and looks like from what we can tell, and you can't always count on our math here, Rob, but we believe you have wrapped up the championship today. I do not think you can be caught with the bad run that Kika had today. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. I knew I was getting close to say it, thinking to myself, you know what? Now's the point that I can really try for it, but that's when you mess yourself up. I think Mick will still he could probably still get me in the main one, though, in the iRacing one.
I was hoping you hadn't seen that, Rob.
Yeah. Well, I had been looking at that one, too, because I think you had one bad race. You had really low points, and I knew that it was going to jump this week if you got a good run.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
Do you have another one?
Mate. Bring it on, mate.
Hopefully you don't have another one.
Well, today's race, though, the pace was very interesting to watch and hard to kind of suss out, Rob, because, well, you were held closely to by the 3 cars behind you in the first half of the race. And then as soon as they started battling, it seemed like everybody dropped off and nobody could catch you. I wouldn't expect the draft to play a role. Is that how they were keeping up at the first half, or what was going on there?
I don't know. Maybe a tiny bit of that. I don't think there was much of that. I think it was the temps today where it seemed a lot hotter than it's been. And it was a lot more little mistakes, missing marks, adjusting to it. So I think as a group, if I was behind them, I think I could have been driving better. But being in the front, it was kind of hard to try and keep a gap. And I was just making a lot of little mistakes. The weren't huge ones, but in the really tight section where you go through the fast right and then it's a really tight right, it felt like it took me half the race before I finally hit that mark right. Like I just couldn't slow down enough. I was just sliding. But I think my last lap was my best lap. I finally felt like, wow, I think I got a feel for it now.
Well, a lot of people were sliding, so I don't think you need to feel too bad about that. We've only got 2 more rounds to go, knowing that things are likely now wrapped up. What does that do for your approach for the final 2 races? Is it just guns a-blazing, going for wins in both of them now?
I mean, that's what I've been trying for anyway. I just, in the championship is cool, and I like if I can win it. But at the same time, I just like racing every week. So I like racing with these guys out here. They're all really good. And it's just a ton of fun. I mean, you always want to win. It's like playing a game with your brother. You know, you got to beat him when you're out there with him. So that's what it's like for me.
I love that comparison. That is exactly the feeling I feel like describes iRacing. But congratulations! If this is correct, this is your 2nd championship. We hope to see you in the weeks coming.
Okay, thanks, guys. See ya.
That was Rob Olenek, our victor here today. And up next, Mick is going to be talking to Kane Lasky about that 2nd place.
Hey, Kane, how you doing, mate?
Hey, Mick, how are you?
Yeah, good. Listen, Kane, I've said this to you a couple of times now. I've been really, really impressed with how you've really sped up lately. I saw a change at Barcelona. You turned up there, you was right on the pace, and you've done it. You know, you've been really, really up there. You've been right on the pace this week as well. Just a couple of things. Talk about, first of all, just go through your race. I mean, you had a great battle there with Uwe. Just talk about that, will you?
I mean, my race, I guess, was a good track position. Cost me a lot this week. Um, it seemed like nobody really wants to win the race. I tried to just tuck in and not fight at the beginning and not let Rob get away. And then I tried to catch up to Rob, and it didn't seem like he wanted to. And I had a little chance the first time I got by. Had a half a second, but I made a few mistakes, and he was right back on me. And then in the end, just decided to let him by because everybody at the wheel this weekend didn't finish the race. It's very difficult to see on the sides, and it's difficult to keep control of the car. And if we weren't going to win, it was going to be a battle at the end. And so I just settled into the battle at the end and was happy to get him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we was wondering why you pulled over like that. Okay, so that's clear. If you can, just go through, because I mean, there's a lot of guys out there who would love to be up there with you, fighting. Just go through a little bit on how you set your car up, your driving style. Just go through a little bit of that for us, Kane.
Sure. Obviously, this is in 1,200 pounds, 400 plus horsepower, and not a lot of grip. So you have to find mechanical grip. And first of all, your wheel settings are very important in this car. Not enough force feedback, and you're going to spin out everywhere. And too much force feedback for direct drive users. And when the car gets sideways, which it will, you won't be able to in the transition. So this is one thing that's important, but obviously it works with setup. If you have direct drive like I do, if you drive a totally different setup, it's going to totally have a different effect on the wheel. So if you don't have a real good baseline for your wheel, which might not work for this car again, because it has very spiky force feedback. It goes from low to high instantly. So generally I work those two areas and my driving. Okay. The setup is third, I would say, because you can overpower the setup with your control inputs easily. So I try to drive like Jim Clark and Jackie Stewart say, smooth and do everything precisely. And that helps you figure out what to change with the setup and what to change with your wheel. And as far as that, the iRacing is amazing. With the direct drive wheel, every little tweak in the garage makes a difference that I feel. And I'm still, I think, learning the car and getting better every weekend, and just
you don't get too much better, will you? Don't get too much better, Case. Okay.
Probably shouldn't, but that's the other thing that I would say. This car, you're not going to be blazing fast, and even if you are fast, it's about consistency. You see how many people drop out. It's hard to do 21 laps, and today the track, the car changed so much from the at the end. It was really hard to push.
Yeah, just tell me one thing before you go, Kane. Tell me you're going to race next season.
I hope so. I'm moving, and obviously I haven't raced a lot because I don't have a good internet, and you've said it before, it's not that fun to race. And other people, the thing that I would say is people should give more space. You hear this net code all the time, but the reality is it's easy to give more space. And if you give more space, you won't have net codes and you won't have damaged cars. And so I really look forward to it because the quality of the driving is very high. Everybody has the skill. You see it in the broadcasts, and have fun racing with everybody. And so I'm going to try, and I hope to see you all again. I really appreciate the broadcasts and also the sharing of the sets that you do for other people. To appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it too, Kane. Really well done today, mate. Looks like Joe's caught up with Phil.
Yeah, Phil Lake, who finished in 7th today after starting 9th, but that's not the whole story. It wasn't a straightforward run up 2 spots. Phil, you had a little bit of contact, speaking of netcode, like we were talking with Kane. Looks like a little netcode contact with Marco Kika.
Yeah. At the time, I didn't realise that, but I had a look after the race, and looks like he got a little bit loose on the exit, and then a decent sized net code. So that is what it is. Made the race more exciting.
But did it cause any damage to your car? Because it did look like you were struggling a little bit in a couple corners. Saw a near spin coming into turn one after that.
Oh no, I've been struggling with that all week, so that was bound to happen at some point. I had another contact in the same lap with David Rossi, so I'm not sure if I had any damage. It was minor. My lap times were about as good as I could have hoped for, so overall, it didn't affect my race too much.
Yeah, still seventh place, so at least a positive on that. But next week we're going out to Mid Ohio, which, much like this track, has a few long straights and then it's just a big, long technical portion. How do you fare over in Ohio? Is that usually a strong one for you?
I really like the track. I don't think I've ever raced it in the 49 though. I imagine it's going to be pretty difficult with all the crests and elevation changes and stuff, so it should be fun.
It is definitely challenging with the power that this car has. Well, thanks for coming to talk to us. Is there anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
A quick thanks to Rob for sharing his set, and the DT guys for helping me get up to speed this week.
Of course, that is the Dirty Torque team that Phil is talking about. That was our seventh place finisher, Phil Lake. And that's going to wrap up our interviews for today, which takes us to a few thank yous. A big one, of course, to the Lotus 49 community itself, who have brought us back for another season of coverage here. We're looking forward to hopefully getting to cover them next season as well. And also thank you to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts. You can see them listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And also thanks to the team today, Mick, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. Our Twitter is @GSR Channel. Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a merchandise store now where you can buy a few items. The link is in the description below. And the next race is going to be, as I mentioned, at Mid Ohio. That'll be Saturday, November 23rd at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. Check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.